All right, welcome to a multi-part series on this indicator I've been working on. I figured it's time I start sharing this with people so I can figure out whether or not I've made an elaborate coloring book here or if this is actually mathematically relevant. So I'll do a little bit of explanation as to what I am attempting to do here and why I did it this way. There's a couple other ways that I'll show you how to plot this that make it look a little bit different and maybe change its relevancy. So let's do just some basics. We're on the 1 minute time frame of Bitcoin on Bitstamp Exchange, and I've got the stochastic RSI up here, and then I've got my indicator right here. This is the study I've been working on, and you'll notice, just do a little bit of explanation, we've got 4 lines. What do these 4 lines represent? They represent the top 4 market cap altcoins. And so blue you have Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash is in green, Ethereum's in red, and XRP is in yellow. And what is being graphed here essentially is I'm graphing conversion value between the 2 alt markets for each of these coins. And here's what I mean by that. Here's the conversion values that I'm talking about. I think if you're into crypto, we're probably all familiar with this. If not, you can pause the video, take a look at my tabs up here. You can just run these conversions on these numbers up here, and you'll see that they're off by a slight amount. You'll notice that when you're converting between, let's say, Bitcoin and Bitcoin of Ethereum, and you want to get this dollar value of ETH, the difference between the dollar value you get that you derive and what the actual price is going to be relatively small. And it'll also be equal to the difference here if you're using this market and this market to determine what the price should be here. It's going to be the exact same amount as this one, but just in Bitcoin. The difference, though, with when you're using the 2 alt markets of any altcoin to divide them like this and get the price of Bitcoin, the difference can range. I've seen it as high as 120 and as low as negative 120 between the derived price and the actual price. And I'll show you that in a second video on how I modified the indicator to show me the difference, plot the difference. Basically, it turns it into kind of an oscillator instead of the graph I showed you back here, where this is basically just plotting the derived price of Bitcoin so I can just see it, like, for example, Ethereum's in red down here, and ETH is giving us a price of roughly 73.05, 73.06 of Bitcoin. Current price of Bitcoin sitting right over here at 73.34. So that's a little bit off. We got off by maybe $30 or so. And I'm basically just using these 2 markets up here, dividing them to get current price of Bitcoin, and then plotting that. And I'm doing that for all 4 of these alt markets. So that's what this looks like. It's just another graphic, and overlay is false because it's a separate indicator right now. But I do want to show you what it looks like when we plot this and overlay it on the Bitcoin chart. So let's do that next, and we can talk about what that looks like and see if that's any more of an indication. But why don't we do some analysis on this first? Let's see, we can back up. Let's back up to the 15-minute time frame, and we'll see what that looks like. We have a good, what were we at here? 68 up to 73. So we'll see what that looks like. And here it looks like the price rose in accordance. We've got that dip right here. This green line is Bitcoin Cash. So that was telling us that among all these top 4s, Bitcoin Cash was giving us a value of 68.80. Interesting. So as it rose, as the market rose right here, we had this little plateau, and then it shot up in accordance, it looks like. Let's zoom in on that a little bit, see what's going on. Yeah, it shot up roughly at the same time. And so that's an interesting way of looking at it. I don't know if that makes any difference, as in, you could trade that because it's basically mirroring what the candle values of Bitcoin use. And that's because There is a slight limitation on my indicator currently. It's only using closing values to calculate these lines of whatever time frame you're inside. I had another idea that I'll show you where I don't have it plotted yet because I haven't figured out quite yet how to do that, but I have the mathematics of it and how I gathered the data, where I wanted to use the trade histories of each of these markets. And then using trade history and a microsecond timestamp, use that data to then get these lines. But that's a future video. So let's see. Let's go to the 4-hour. See if that changes anything. All right, so it's starting to smooth out, because we're taking longer and longer values. These closing candles represent more and more trade data, so the lines are starting to smooth out here. You can't really see the the up and downs. So go back to the minute. I think the smaller time frames are more storytelling. So let's see. So you can see there was an indication that Bitcoin Cash, it always seems to be an outlier, and it does tend to indicate some kind of action, but I haven't been able to study it long enough yet. Let's go ahead and graph this same thing. We're going to turn this indicator into an oscillator, and I'll be back after I do that.